Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to MOTO Monday. And today we're going to be covering the 6 branches of the military as we normally discuss something military related. We're going to be discussing recruitment today. It's a huge issue we're running into across all the branches for the most part, especially moving into 2023, kind of what to expect and what's been going on and some of the supposed issues that a lot of the branches are talking about. And so just kind of let's just dive into it. So kicking it off with the start of things, we'll cover the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps met its goals for FY22. Congratulations, guys! I'm glad that you guys pulled it out. It was really tight. They did end up getting able to lower some of their targets because retention was higher in the Marine Corps. But that was just kind of where they're at. So the Marines made it. The Air Force, they met their recruitment goals. They're projected as of September 30th to be kind of just barely making it. But they're already at 97% as of September, so they should be good to go. So luckily, the Air Force made it okay. The Space Force, with a whopping 395 enlisted personnel, they made it. They made their goal of 404 people, which shouldn't be hard to do, right? When you've only got a few people you need to recruit. The U.S. Coast Guard, they did not meet their goals, and they don't have a whole lot to recruit. And they blamed a large portion of it on the COVID-19 lockdowns and not being able to meet with recruiters. But as you can see, the Marine Corps made it, the Space Force made it, the Air Force made it. So really, what's going on? I don't really think that they can allow for like that type of excuse. The Navy, here's a list of their goals for FY 2022. They did meet their enlisted goals, however, and their both the reserve goals, but they actually fell short on officers. I think by 8, they barely missed it as well. So they were kind of just scrabbling along, but they're not going to make their goals for FY 2022. And then finally, we will talk about the last one, which is really what's making a lot of the buzz, which is the Army. The Army, they didn't meet their goals by a huge amount. We're talking about 15,000 soldiers that they couldn't get recruited, nearly 25% of their overall recruiting goal. Now, really, what we need to start thinking about is why this is happening. Why are the military recruitment numbers so low, right? And they want to talk about they want to talk about COVID. They want to talk about all these different things that really don't. I don't think they've given a really good explanation as to why they haven't met their recruiting goals. Sorry about that. But they want to blame COVID, right? But obviously some of the branches made their term, so it must not have been COVID. Plus, they were across all the branches. They were eliminating and kicking out people who weren't taking the COVID shot, and now they're saying sorry, you know, about it because they never should have kicked them out because obviously there's huge negative side effects that everyone's seeing, especially in young males when taking the shot. So I don't know that the military really has a good grasp on like what they're doing wrong. But when you pair everything together, I mean, you have really horrible pay, compared to the outside sector. This outside sector is starting to increase again, kind of. I mean, inflation is kind of killing things. But when you have, you don't get paid a whole lot. You're taken care of minimally when you're in. Once you get out, you're dealing with the VA system, and if you know what you're doing and you're lucky enough to like get out or get out with all of your medical records all like flushed out and everything's like directly transferred over into the VA, then you kind of have a little bit easier time with it. But there are definitely some huge problems in the VA when it comes to certain things. So, I think that when people are looking at, what do I get out of serving, um, you know, it doesn't look the same as it used to. There's not this and they've also, sorry, I don't mean to skip over that other point, but they've ruined the whole like kind of like idea of being patriotic. Like there are so few people that are patriotic about their country that it's really hurting the recruitment numbers, right? Like they've they've let the system and the government has basically vilified loving your country to the point where now there's tons of people in this country that don't even like living here, or they don't like the country but they still live here. And so why would they serve in the military, right? Like when they badmouth the military, like I can't tell you how many times I personally have been, my property damaged, or I've been verbally or physically attacked for being a veteran. Like it's insane. um, I think that those are the reasons. Those are the things that are hurting recruitment numbers. Like you have tons of these kids going through high school and colleges now that are super biased against military service. So why would a generation who's been told their entire time growing up that the military is evil, or they kill babies, or or whatever the case is, why would they go serve? Why would they want to go serve? You know, I think that's truly what's hurting recruitment numbers. And I think that you mix that in with these mandates that they had for things. I think that people see it and they just, why would they want to go do that? You know, and it's unfortunate because I think that military service is great. I think that a huge portion of society could benefit from it. In fact, I would love it to see us go more of an Israeli route and have it mandatory. I think everyone should serve. I think that like everyone should serve 2 years for their country. For I mean, you live in the greatest place on earth, bar none, hands down. It's not comparable. You do, and a lot of people don't realize that because they've never been anywhere else. They don't see what it's like. They don't know what it's like. All they know about is what their the media tells them, or what their teachers have taught them. And unfortunately, there's not enough teachers out there that are veterans. I wish that more veterans would become teachers and educators, because that's what the country really needs. It needs a kind of like some new perspectives on what is necessary for the country to be teaching our youth. Because that's where it starts, right? That's where recruitment starts. It doesn't like most recruits are not over the age of 25. That's just the facts. And we saw the Army actually get rid of its educational requirements for about a week. Then they realized, wow, that was really stupid. Getting like not forcing people to have a GED, or excuse me, a high school diploma, or even a GED. That's bananas, right? Their ASVAB score is already barely breaking a minimal threshold for like competence at 31. But then to go further and say they were going to try to get rid of educational requirements, that's why people aren't joining. That's another reason. Like it's just the military is becoming just this other asset of like pro woke propaganda. When you look at the commercials for other countries' militaries, like the Russian military, and you look at our commercials for recruitment, they're not comparable. They're not. They're not afraid to say, yeah, look, like this, like we're badass. This is hard stuff. This is especially on the infantry side. This is like where the men go fight. And on our side, we're like making sure that everyone's feelings are safe, and we're worried about who, like what side of the PC spectrum we need to be pandering to next. Like, and honestly, the majority of people do not fall into, especially the LGBTQ community. Like most of the military does not fall into that. Most of the people applying for the military, or that would apply for the military, are not part of that spectrum. They're not part of that area of society. I have no problem with that area of society. I'm just saying there's no point in building commercials to it, because they don't make up the majority of society, right? A huge portion of the military is from the South, and the people that are straight. That's just the facts. So the more that they get away from sticking with what's worked for the last, I don't know, few couple centuries, you know, the worse things are going to get. And so I think that 2020, the guy, like the Marine Corps, the Navy, the Space Force, the Air Force, ones that like, they made it, but maybe just barely, um, they're they're in for a rude awakening in 2023. They're going to be starting off 2023 at a much lower point than when they started out the previous year. So I don't think that they're going to make recruitment numbers again for another year, maybe 2 years. Who knows? Unless things massively change, unless they start paying a decent wage and start treating people with respect and start like honoring, their own personal decisions to some level. To some level, obviously, you're joining the military. You do sign away a lot of those things, but you know, there just has to be a, a change. And unfortunately, we also have people in the military like Commandant of the Marine Corps, General Berger, how the fuck you say it, I don't care. His, I talked about it last Monday. His FY30 plan or FD30 plan for 2030 completely strips the Marine Corps of all the things it's basically known for. To me, it just you look at it and you're like, is he trying to just was that just one more step to like getting rid of the Marine Corps as a whole? Because that would be not good for the U.S. military. That's again kind of on a rant, but anyhow, that's my thoughts. If you guys have any questions or comments, please put them below. Thank you for tuning in. As always, stay loose out there, guys. Stay safe, battle on, and if you have a bitch in your heart, it will show.